Okay. All right. Well, I am pleased to be joined by Lori Thompson, the new Chief Financial Officer for LHB. And LHB, by the way, was founded in 1966 in Duluth and is an award-winning multidisciplinary architecture, engineering, and planning firm that serves clients nationwide. And Lori joined the firm's Duluth office as a bookkeeper in 1989, previously served as controller. As CFO, she will serve as a member of LHB's leadership team and oversee financial compliance, reporting, planning, risk mitigation, and internal controls. So thank you, Lori, for taking some time to chat.
Thank you for inviting me here.
Absolutely. How are you doing today?
Really good. It's Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. The week went by fast with the holiday on Monday, and it
Yes.
seems like it should only be Thursday, but we'll take it. So I wonder if you could just start by, first of all, congratulations on the recent promotion to
Thank you.
CFO. When did that promotion happen?
That's a good question. Probably sometime in March.
Okay. And can you talk a little bit about your new duties as CFO?
Sure. I would say that they're not too different from my previous role as controller. As far as the day-to-day duties and responsibilities, I think in a growing firm, so when I started, we were 40 people and now we're 250 people. And as a service industry, we tend to run lean, right? So people have to wear multiple hats. So as I progressed through my career, I would say that, a lot of the duties that I was doing were probably CFO duties as well as controller duties. So I think for me, the change is the title. So how I'm perceived both inside and outside my organization is a big change. And then you had mentioned I am now a member of the leadership team. So I'm serving in the top decision-making body for operations in our company, and excited to be able to bring diversity of thought and ideas to that team.
Excellent. And it also mentions in your bio that you've been started with the Duluth office in 1989. So I'm not a CFO, but just my math tells me that that's what, 33 years?
Yeah, that's a
So
long time.
yeah, that is a long run. I've been with F&C for almost 25 years now, but you almost make me look like a rookie by comparison. But it must be a good place to work since you've been there that long. Can you talk a little bit about your journey there and sort of rising through the ranks?
Sure, absolutely. I started, like you said, in 1989 as a bookkeeper. And the firm was about 40 people at that time. And the climate and culture was really what kept me here. Especially, in a smaller company, we were very team oriented. We were growing. It was exciting. We celebrated our successes as a team, and we shouldered the difficult times as a team together. And even though we've grown now, we're 250 employees. I think that the leadership and the employees have really worked hard to try to keep a lot of, or most of, that cultural aspect in this company, even though, of course, we've had to infuse a lot of corporate policy and procedures to comply with laws and client requirements, but still retaining that really team focus and try to keep it a fun and enjoyable place to come to work every day.
Right on. Also, I understand you graduated from UMD, so didn't have to move very far from college to work, geographically speaking, at least. Was this your first job actually out of college, or?
Actually, I went back to college. I started college out of high school and then quit and started working at LHB, and went back as a non-traditional student. And at the time I was married, 2 young children, full-time job, and building a new house. So I understand work-life balance and the lack thereof.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, just so it mentions also in your bio that you are pretty active in advocating for women's education. You've done some mentorship, things of that nature. I guess we'll start maybe by asking you about the Philanthropic Education Organization, which provides scholarship support to female college students. Tell us a little bit more about that and how you became involved with that organization.
Sure. So I've always been passionate about equality of all people. And one way to act on that passion was to join this group, PEO, or Philanthropic Education Organization. So we are a group of women who raise money for scholarships for women, and the scholarships range from women that are just coming out of high school, going into their first year, women returning to college later in life, and also women pursuing graduate level degrees. There's some really nice scholarships for those folks. And how I joined, it's a group of women, so you usually join through invitation of a friend. So that's how I joined the organization. But I serve as my chapter treasurer, of course. I tend to get that assignment when I join boards or groups, right? One other thing too that I would like to share
Yeah.
is our company established an endowment and was a major contributor, along with other donors from our industry, to fund scholarships awarded to women civil engineering students at UMD.
Hmm.
So this is it to honor one of our Minnesota pioneers of female engineering, Roberta Dwyer. So she was with MnDOT for 39 years, and through her career, worked on many large and complex projects throughout the Northland, and was also a very strong mentor and role model to many women engineers.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, have you seen, you've been in the industry for quite a while now. What kind of progress are you seeing in terms of more women getting involved in leadership positions, CFO type roles, that kind of thing? Are you seeing, I imagine the industry has come a long ways, but still progress to be made.
Yeah, I would say in the architectural and engineering industry, a lot of progress has been made as far as women entering the field of, STEM, engineering, architecture. But I think the struggle is in keeping women in that field. And a couple of statistics to throw out, and this is from SWE, which is the Society of Women Engineers. And the numbers are from 2019, so it's probably changed a bit, especially with COVID, but I think it's 13% of engineers are women, and less than 30% of women make a career of it, stay to like 20 years. So I think a lot of women leave the industry. I think that as a way to encourage women to stay in the industry and then progress in their careers to leadership positions, we need to remove some of the barriers to the industry. And I think a couple of the major barriers are organizational climate. So things like old stereotypes and like, for example, men asking other men to check a woman's work because they don't trust that she has the ability, right? Same ability. Another example would be a female engineer being asked to take minutes at the meeting or set up or clean up. So some of those old gender roles are still prevalent in our industry. My own personal experience, I can tell you, I can walk into a conference room that already has men in it, and there's a lot of casual banter and joking and laughing. And when I come into the room, that changes, right? The climate and the conversation becomes more controlled. So that's one thing. Opportunities for advancement. So in the service industry, of course, time is money. And so those that work the most hours win, right? They're deemed as the most dedicated, and then are rewarded with bigger projects and more responsibilities. And that conflicts directly with work-life balance, and probably forces a lot of women to have to choose family or career. So I think some of the ways that we can affect change is advocacy for equity, and that has to come from the top, and it has to be genuine. And when I say genuine, I mean the genuine commitment to affect change in the organization. So interrupting our business as usual. A lot of companies are going through the diversity, equity, inclusion training or gender awareness training, right? And writing their equity statements, and those are great places to start, but then you can't just check those boxes and stop there, right? We have to keep doing the work to interrupt our business as usual. So some examples are adding diversity to your board of directors, adding diversity to leadership, adding diversity to internal committees, for example, compensation committees, changing your policies and processes to ensure transparency and equal access to resources and opportunities for all people. And as leaders, to be asking the question always, who is not at the table, who is not represented here, and who will not benefit from this policy or this process that we're implementing. So I think that would be a good start.
Yeah, right on. Well, congrats for working on that. So it sounds like it's not just a matter of hiring, getting more diversity in hiring, but also the culture at the organization is a huge factor there.
Right. So lots of improvement in the education and the hiring, but the ability to keep women in the careers. And another article I was just reading was the top 2 reasons women leave engineering is the organizational climate and the opportunities for advancement are not transparent or equal. That is also the 2 reasons when they interviewed the women that stayed longer than 20 years. The same 2 reasons are why they stayed. So.
Yeah, interesting stuff. And, you know, certainly it would benefit the entire industry to have more diversity, and it makes business sense as well as being the right thing to do. And I know I have 3 daughters, and certainly want them to have the same opportunities that anyone else has. So congrats for working on that and sort of taking up that cause.
Absolutely.
So I want to mention another thing in your bio. Talked about how you have volunteered also with Junior Achievement USA, which includes visiting Duluth-area classrooms to talk with students about careers and professional success. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, that was really fun. So I had done it at different levels. So in the grade school level, it was more about I guess introduction to my industry, so engineering and architecture, and developing some fun product or projects that the kids could work on. So they have this, at that stage in their life, they're thinking about careers that are maybe different than, your more mainstream, right? So probably a lot of kids in grade school aren't thinking about being an architect or engineer. So that was a lot of fun, because selling my industry is a lot of fun. And working with kids are fun too. And then I also did a program in the high schools that was called the Economics of Staying in School. So just going through why it's so important to get that high school diploma, right? Stay in school, get that diploma, and the doors that it opens for you after that. So
yeah, and hopefully something can be done about the cost of higher education too, for everybody.
absolutely.
It's really hitting home to me now. My middle daughter just graduated from high school and is looking at colleges, maybe even UMD. So we'll see about that. But
That's right. There's the college track, and then the trade schools, actually, because of such a need for people in the trades. I see that they'll offer paid, kind of, a paid program. So you go to school and you're getting paid to go to school and learn that trade. So.
Yeah, good point. Well, there's, just talking about the industry in general now and sort of what you're seeing out there. I know that LHB has been working on some cool projects. I just wrote actually just yesterday about the Hillcrest development in St. Paul, and I know that I've talked to Rick Carter about that. LHB is doing some really cool stuff with that project. But what are you seeing out there as just as a company as a whole? You've been staying pretty busy, and even through COVID and everything else?
Yeah, actually, during COVID, we probably had some of our biggest years ever in history as far as growth and revenues. And we do continue to stay busy. I think what really helps our company is we are very diverse in our markets that we serve. We are also diverse in the services and disciplines that we provide. So that diversity helps us when one market or 2 markets are down, other markets will be up. So I think that's really what has helped this company navigate a lot of the economic downturns that we've experienced throughout my tenure here.
Excellent. Well, you've been generous with your time, Lori. I appreciate that. Are there any parting thoughts before I let you go? Really compelling. You have a compelling story, so I'm glad you joined us.
Thanks.
Any
Thank you.
final thoughts?
I guess just to other women that are in maybe a male-dominated industry is just hang in there and keep fighting. That I think, and I'm hopeful that change is coming.
Yeah, hopefully our daughters will have a better place, and then and their daughters even better still. So just keep the progress. Hopefully we'll keep progressing.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Lori. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Appreciate
You
it.
too. Thanks.